What is up guys, welcome to another video. That Geeky Guy here, and today we'll be looking at a classic constructed tier list and basically take a look at the current meta, and as I go along we're gonna talk a bit about that and see how it goes. So let's begin by actually getting two heroes out of the way, in this case which is Chain, and also I'm looking for Starvo over here. This tier list is a bit outdated, but it's okay. So if you are a newer player, Living Legend is kind of a Flesh and Blood rotation thing going on. So if a hero hits a Living Legend, it means that the hero is out of the pool and you can't really play that hero in a standard format. Now if there's gonna be a Living Legend format moving forward, that we do not know, but for now these two heroes are there. So starting off with Kano. So Kano is in a interesting spot. Unfortunately, not as viable as his counterpart Islander. Kano is somewhat viable if your local meta is not running any Arcane Barrier, but that is not the case with Islander being very popular in the meta. So I'm gonna put him in not viable for now. Unfortunately, he was good previously, because Islander was not that popular. People haven't figured her out, so they don't really play much ABs. But now with a bunch of ABs on board, Kano is let's say it's not that good. Now Dash, on the other hand, if we look at the previous calling, Singapore, we saw a Dash Vaughn with a Tackler Pounder super aggressive build. Even Briar struggles to keep up with the damage, but of course that deck does have some weaknesses, and also does struggle with things like disruption and stuff. But there is also a control variant of Dash, which can be good against Islander, which is the current meta. So therefore I'm gonna put her at the viable option. She can be good, but it really depends how the matchup goes. Now for Azalea, on the other hand, she is still kind of a black sheep of Flesh and Blood, because there is a better option, which is Lexi. But I've seen some top 8s. I guess only one top 8 for Azalea, which I'm not sure in which nationals, but she does seem to have a place. She can go really tall or really wide depending on the deck build. So I'm gonna put her in somewhat viable. Yeah, it can be rewarding if you can make her work, but usually she's not really that good. Next we are looking at Viserai. Viserai always has been a pretty good deck. So it's been a couple of metas that he has been on top of his game. I'm gonna put him in viable, maybe even competitive. But yeah, I'm gonna put him in competitive just because of the Moderate Tide Rebel combo and a bunch of nasty stuff you can do with Viserai. So there is two different versions of this. One would be the belittle variation, and then the usual variation. So both with their strength and weaknesses. So I'm gonna put Viserai in competitive. Alright, so I forgot about Prism. Prism is now in Living Legend, so quick backtrack there. So 3 heroes in Living Legend, I forgot about that. And then we are looking at Boltyn. So Boltyn is kind of in the same place like Azalea, so he has to do a lot of things in order to make his attack work. So usually people go for the hybrid Centauri and Raiden build. So I'm gonna put him in somewhat viable. If he pops off, he pops off, but if he don't, then it's gonna be a bad time for Boltyn. I believe there's a few top 8s, maybe 1 or 2 top 8s for Boltyn. I believe it's in the Nationals Taiwan, but yeah, still needs figuring out, still needs support. So currently it's not enough. Levia is another hero that I think is somewhat viable. It really depends on the pilot. Unless you're Mansant or those really Levia obsessed player, you can actually make this work. I believe Taiwan has a good Levia player, so if you want a good deck build for Levia, you can check out Mansant or even the deck list from the Taiwan. So next we are looking at Dorinthia. Dorinthia is pretty good, but she does struggles against the Islander meta. So I'm actually struggling to put her between viable and somewhat viable. She's good against decks like Fi and stuff, and also maybe the Michael Hamilton's Islander. So this was pointed out by my teammate Sishan. He actually mentioned this. Any deck that struggles to block actually makes Dorinthia really good. I'm gonna put her in somewhat viable. I'm gonna actually arrange this so that it looks better. Azalea is gonna be, I think Bolton is, I guess I'm gonna put it this way. So Azalea is at the back. Dorinthia it's gonna work depending on matchups. So Rhinar is in a very interesting place because Islander is so popular that the intimidation mechanic works really good. So what happens now is every time Rhinar actually goes and then pops off with barraging and stuff like that, with Blood Rush and with multiple intimidation, he is actually a very competitive hero. The Malaysian National is actually won by a lady, a girl, that runs Rhinar, which is excellent player, excellent pilot. So Rhinar is actually a competitive deck currently, just because Islander is running around rampant. And also it's also really good against Dromai and decks that really want to block but you're not allowing them to. Next we are looking at Bravo. Bravo is in a very good spot currently, but I'm not sure he is as good as Rhinar, but he's definitely in a good spot. I'm going to put him in front of Dash because of the viability, because of the dominant mechanic on dominant on demand. Cards like Crippling Crush, Spinal Crushers is really good against decks that really want to go again. Really good matchup against Briar. I guess it's in favor of Bravo, I would say, depending if Briar could get a mountain out. We are looking at Katsu. I really want Katsu to work because I am a Katsu player. I really love Katsu, but he does struggle against multiple meta heroes such as Islander. He does well against a few other decks. It is possible to beat 5 with Katsu, but it also really depends on your draw. So Katsu is a hero that he's just not consistent enough. You could push the consistency up, but he is just less consistent to decks like Fi and stuff. So I'm gonna put him right beside Dorinthia actually. So it really depends on the matchup. If you're going against Droma, you're gonna have a good time. Going against Islander, it's gonna be in favor of Islander because of disruptions such as Blizzard and stuff. So yeah, Katsu is gonna be here. For Olhim is definitely a competitive deck. So we've seen multiple wins with Olhim, such as Matt Rogers, and then we have looked at Tariq Patel's Olhim. So it shows that Olhim is definitely a competitive deck, really strong. Access to Oaken Olds, access to the Frostbite Winter Veil, even the Sledge of I forgot, Anvil, the giant hammer that swings for 6 for the cost of 4. So there are a few variations of this. Really good against Islander 2 because of the ability actually to create a Frostbite token. Really messes up the calculation for Islander. Next, we are looking at Briar. Briar is currently in a weird spot because she struggles against a few matchups. So she struggles against Islander, she struggles against Olhim, she struggles against Bravo, but she is definitely still a valuable deck. Mountain is always really crucial in a Briar deck. So if you could get it out early, get it out multiple mountains across of multiple turns, it's gonna be super good. Time for you. I'm gonna put her in viable. Lexi is another viable deck that I think is not really many players are playing, but she is actually quite good. Frost on demand, go again, and things like that. Rain Razors are some things that really powers the deck out of war, so she can deal really massive damage. So next, I'm gonna put Islander in a competitive tier. This because of the recent Michael Hamilton build, which I think is really powerful. Actually play against my friend on this. Cards like Wounded Bull, E-Strike, Command and Conquer, and cards like that become the staple for the deck. So she can even deal with Dromai no problem, because of a large number of poppers in the deck. So Michael Hamilton is a genius for actually coming up with this, turning Islander basically into a budget Runeblade. Next, we are looking at Dromai. So Dromai is I'm gonna put her either in viable. I'm actually struggling to put her in viable or somewhat viable. So I'm gonna put her in. It's hard to say actually. I'm gonna put her in the viable, but extremely close to somewhat viable, because it really depends on matchup. If your dragon, if you could set up your board, if you could block your opponent's attack efficiently, you're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna actually arrange this. Yeah, so if you can block out properly, you're gonna have a good time. If not, it's gonna struggle a bit. Yep, so you can set up the board. Once you get the board set up, it's gonna be in your favor, but against white decks, it's gonna struggle a bit. Fi is definitely a viable deck. I'm gonna put here right beside Briar. So really depends. It's one of the best aggro decks in the meta. It does struggle against Briar with Mountain, but honestly, what doesn't struggle against Briar with Mountain? So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the tier list. Thank you very much for watching. I know I've been missing for quite some time, and I hope to have a more consistent upload schedule moving on. So stay tuned. Do subscribe, like, and all those good stuff. Support me on Patreon if you want. And that's it, guys. See you guys in the next one. Bye.